These niggas ain't bigger than me. These niggas ain't Nas, ain't Jigger than me. These niggas ain't M, they ain't 50 to me. You ain't Pun, you ain't Pop, you ain't Biggie to me. These niggas ain't Crips, they ain't 60s to me. These niggas ain't Bloods, they ain't dripping with me. Niggas talking that shit by the new generation, man. Fuck these niggas, I slash your fucking faces. You niggas ain't so shit, not an album or a rock. Pussy nigga putting rings on my old bitch. Dick down the throat ass niggas, old hoe ass niggas. Happy cause you went gold ass niggas. These niggas ain't spitting with me. You ain't sicker than me. Fuck out my section, you ain't sitting with me. This for very important people. It's clear that we not equal. Clear you niggas faggots. I'm the Black Marshall man. Like yin 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 on a motherfucker. Who needs Hulk Hogan when you got Sting on this motherfucker? Less than 5 albums, kiss the ring on this motherfucker. California throne and I'm the king on this motherfucker. I don't wanna hear it. Weak ass lyrics, crying on the hook, thinking we gon' feel it. Oh, lost ass niggas, voice crack when you talk ass nigga, rolling blunts for the boss ass niggas. I came in with Ye, Jeezy and boss ass niggas. Your freshman cover a whole bunch of soft ass niggas. Tampon lyricists evacuate the premises. Mute BET ciphers cause I don't wanna hear that shit. May you rest in piss, you fuck niggas. Hey, Frank Ocean, go ahead, fuck these fuck niggas. Yeah, they fuck niggas. Ain't no 3 stacks in your class, so take your top 10 spot and shove it up your ass, bitch, boy. Niggas already fucked your bitch, you bitch, boy. And every time you kiss on that hoe, you suck my dick, you bitch, boy. And when you buy that hoe a bag, that bitch carry my bricks, you bitch, boy.
Man, what up? What up? What's good with everybody? How y'all doing, man? Please like the show, share the show, tell a friend, tell a friend. We are live. It's your boy Sean P in the place to be. We at part 2, man. We part 2. I know there's a debate coming up. I'm not trying to spoil the debate or get in the middle of a debate or, you know what I'm saying, have anybody run from it. I want them to run to it and handle their business like me, because they feel like, you know, they're these people. And you know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep on showing people evidence of a different type of a people until they succumb to really just telling the truth. Now, a lot of this information that we have been discussing on this channel and others, people like Ivan Van Sertima didn't have that information. A lot of the information that they did have was very limited. I'm going to have to get this new chair or something. Boy, this one's killing me, my ears. But anyway, so I was on Garfield's show today again, you know, talking Abo stuff, listening to an old video that Jabari was dealing with Dane Calloway and so on and so forth. But it's kind of difficult to really entertain Jabari because of some of his beliefs and ideologies that hold him to the standard of what certain elders was teaching in the community. And therefore, he subjects himself to those things that keeps him stuck and he can't get past those things. So when other people speak on it, it's a different bill. What up, Infinite? But I want to talk about I want to be a little bit more clear about what I was talking about on Garfield's show today when I was talking about this specific gene that only exists in Native Americans and those who, you know, make up those people. And but first, before I do that, I want to talk about some science that not many people even speak on, and maybe this will start trending in a direction. So just work with me real quick. I'm gonna walk you through a couple of sources, and I want to try to help it make sense. Let me change my seat. Make it sense to a lot of people that are unfamiliar with science and how science works. Much better. All right, so again, man, like the show, share the show. Probably need to tighten the screws in. But like the show, share the show, tell a friend we live. Let me get into my first source. Because this pretty much sets the stage for everything else that we're going to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And if you're watching the NCAA tournament, shout out to you. Hope your team is winning. Psych. All right, so genes for face shape identified. So in an article published in February 2021 in the Neuroscience, there's a source here. This basically, here's the summary. This study identifies 32 gene regions, including 9 novel gene readings. I want you to think about this. You've been hearing this a lot. Novel, basically new. So 32 gene regions, including 9 novel gene readings associated with facial features, including the shape of the face, lips, and nose. All right. We talking science. Face, lip, and nose. What up, Rob? What up, Omar? What up, Mo? Shout out to all the people that really don't say nothing in the chat. Peace to y'all. But anyway, so let's talk about the genes that determine the shape of a person's facial profile, and then we'll move forward. All right, so researchers identified 32 gene regions that influence facial features such as a nose, lip, jaw, and brow shape, 9 of which were entirely new discoveries, while the others validated genes with prior limited evidence. Lip talk. Now, the analysis of data from more than 6,000 volunteers across Latin America was published today in Science Advances. Boom. The international research team led by the UCL, Marcellus University, and the Open University found that one of the genes appears to have been inherited from the Denisovans, an extinct group of ancient humans who lived tens of thousands of years ago. Here's the other gene. The team found that the gene TBX15, this got to do with the lips, excuse me, which contributes to lip shape, was linked with genetic data found in the Denovisan people, providing a clue to the gene's origin. I'm going to say this again. This is what they named it. The TBX15 contributes to the lip shape. Ladies and gentlemen, the lips. Hold on. Let me take you back just a little bit further. What was the conversation about the Olmecs? They said they had the big lips. That's what they said. They said the lips. You know, among other things, but one of the features that they did name was the lips. Now, the Denisovans lived in Central Asia, and other studies suggest they interbred with modern humans. See, when I said this on the show, no one really knew what I was talking about. But I was, Danny asked the right question, and, I was trying to let them know admixture has transpired. There was no, what I want to call it. There was nothing that existed back then that would tell people that they shouldn't mate with other people, humans, whether Homo sapiens sapien or whether Neanderthals or the Denisovans, whatever the case may be. There's a time period where you got different hominids roaming the earth, probably struggling to communicate with one another, but may have been, sexual attraction is the word. They're going to interbreed. You might find it nasty impregnating someone of an opposite sex. Some other people might not. But it is what it is. It's today. So they found this gene has everything to do with the lips. This gene and lip shape is linked to the Denovisan people. This provided a clue to the gene's origin. Now, Central Asia, other studies suggest they interbred with modern humans as the DNA lives in the Pacific Islanders and the indigenous people of the Americas. I'm going to run it back again. They say what? The study suggests they interbred with modern humans, and some of their DNA lives on in Pacific Islanders and indigenous people of the Americas. Let's stop right there. Well, now I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this quote. So the face-shaped genes were found may have been the product of evolution as ancient humans evolved to adapt to their environments. Possibly, the version of the gene determining the lip shape that was present in the Denovicens could have helped in body fat distribution to make them better suited to the cold climates of Central Asia, and was passed on to modern humans when the two groups met and interbred. What's going on, bro? What up, Keenan? Now, I'm gonna pause right there, cause I know, like, man, yo, you tripping, Sean. What you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. So that's one source. So now let's walk a little bit backwards. Let's deal with who these people are. Now extinct, they lived as far back as 200,000 years ago. The Denovicens with the Neanderthals are the closest extinct relatives of modern humans. So these people were the closest, besides Neanderthals, to us. It wasn't until 2010 that scientists announced that the Denovicens existed. So much about them remains unknown. However, fossil and genetic evidence suggests that the Denovicens lived across a wide range of areas and conditions, from cold mountains of Siberia and Tibet to the jungles of Southeast Asia. This is why I said to everyone, and the science is saying to you, that the Native Americans that we know of today are made up of Siberians, what is it? Central and Eastern Asians. And I'll say it just like that because some say Eurasians, right? Now, Russian scientists excavated the first fossils linked to the Denovicens in the summer of 2008 in the site of Denisova Cave. That's how they got their name, Denisova. Now, in this cave in the Altai Mountains in the southern Siberia, according to the Journal of Nature, the cave was used as recently as the 1700s by a hermit named Denis, which is where it's got its modern name, the Cave of Denis in Russia, according to the Leakey Foundation. Previous excavations of the Denisova Cave discovered stone artifacts that decades of prior work suggests were Neanderthal in origin, according to Nature. As such, when scientists first unearthed Denisovan fossils, they thought the remains belonged to Neanderthal, but they didn't. However, subsequent analysis of the ancient DNA extracted from the fossils revealed otherwise. In 2008, researchers sequenced the first complete genome of Neanderthal. They sequenced the first complete genome of Neanderthal in 2008. What does this have to do with anything? But a sliver of 30 to 50,000 year old finger bone from a cave belonged to a completely different, hitherto unknown human lineage. The scientists announced their discovery in the study of Nature in 2010. To show this form of a tiny finger bone fragment was a remarkable technical achievement, Chris Stringer, a paleoanthropologist at the Natural History Museum of London, told Live Science. So they printed the paper in Nature. It revealed that the existence of the Denovicens found that there were the close relatives of Neanderthal. A subsequent 2013 study estimated that the lineage that gave rise to Neanderthal and the Denovicens split from the ancestors of modern humans about 550,000 years to 765,000 years ago. Now, the ancestors of Neanderthals and the Denovicens later diverged from one another between 381,000 to 473,000 years ago. Let me stop. So, to summarize real quick, what we read, we started here talking about the facial expressions, right? The face shape identified through a study that was done and found the 32 gene region of the facial features. All right. Now, what we've uncovered was they took 6,000 volunteers across Latin America, right? Which they published the study in Science Advances, and they determined this unique feature. The first unique feature is the gene TBX15 has everything to do with the lips. This lip gene can be found and linked to the Denisovan people. All right. Live Science article is describing that these people were found due to a finger. The finger led to more research. They thought that it was the Neanderthal. They had originally sequenced the Neanderthal's DNA in 2008. Just so happened because with this evidence, they found out it didn't have nothing to do with the Neanderthal lineage. They found the evidence in the cave where Dennis was found. That's how the name Denisovan came to be. All right. Now, all the studies are published in the Journal of Nature from 2010 to current regarding what transpired and what lineage gave rise. All right. So we there. Now, walk with me. Now that we got that going on, I'm going to show you a map. Because I know some people are good with pictures, images, right? They ain't good with words, they're good with images, memes. So here we have migrations of the first out of Africa for humans. If you look at this very closely, start in Africa, where you see L0, L1 through L6. But you see here more specifically is L3. What you'll see here is L3 leaving Africa, right? Forget the initials, the N's, the T's. Don't get into all of that right now. Just follow the arrows. You see Neanderthals. The Neanderthals leave going all the way up into the Caucasus homelands and Arabia and India. And then they're in Northeast Eurasia to what they call the South Siberian homeland and on toward the Americas. And then south, toward Asia, you see Southeastern Asia. But then you start seeing the Denisovans, which is different. You'll even see Homo erectus in Southeast Asia homeland, but you don't see Homo erectus in some other spots, right? So according to this map, it takes you all the way down on into Australoid land, and now you got all of this stuff going on. So we see here, right, how these people begin to start taking shape. The closer to the equator, the phenotype changes. The further you get away from the equator, the phenotype lightens up. Now, I'm not going to read this whole article, but I grabbed it just to kind of show you the map of human migration map to reflect the Neanderthal and the Denisovans. And what it says in the article is, dun, 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 interbreeding. So they begin to have sex, ladies and gentlemen. And what happens when you have sex? You get these Native Americans in the future. Nah, realistically, they begin to have sex, and what comes of that comes of that. But anyway, so I let all of my sources are in the description in case you want to read this for yourself and kind of deal with it. But what you're talking about here, or what's being spearheaded here, is this 2009 massive project spearheaded by the Chinese seem to put that question to rest. Ford Institute, Hugo, Pan, Asians, and talk about all this shit. This is the Chinese trying to tell a story in a sense. All right. And then talking about the real E gene and all of that and coming out of Africa. All right, cool. Let's go here. So this brings us to the fun part. Native Americans inherit the lip shape gene from who? Who did they get the lip gene from? So you telling me that all the Native Americans got this lip gene? Let's see what the article say. Sean, you pseudo, you making this shit up. In a genome-wide association study of 6,169 Latin American individuals, an international team of scientists identified how many genes? 32 gene regions that influenced facial features such as nose, lips, jaw, and brow shape. 9 of which were entirely new discoveries, while the others validated genes with prior limited evidence. One of these genes appears to have been inherited from the Denisovans, an extinct sister group of Neanderthal. Now, Dr. Hirakari, a scientist at the University College of London and the Open University, and colleagues analyzed the Candela, which is a consortium for the analysis of the diversity of evolution of Latin America. The consortium data from volunteers recruited in 5 Latin American countries: Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, Peru. That's key. That's key because don't we got information with your boy Columbus in Peru, and we got the Jesuits in Peru, and all right, anyway. They compared genetic information from the participants with characteristics of their face shape, quantified with 59 measurements, distance, angles, and ratios between said points from photos of their faces and profile. Now, they detected significant association of 32 traits with at least 1 and up to 6 of 32 different genomic regions. Here come the lips. Now, I know I was talking and y'all couldn't see nothing, but don't worry, I got you. Here come the lips. They found, don't worry, I got y'all, the TBX15 gene that contributes to lip thickness was linked with genetic data found in the Denisovans, providing a clue to the gene's origin. The face-shaped genes we found may have been the product of evolution as ancient humans evolved to adapt to their environment. Possibly the version of the gene determining the lip shape that was present in the Denisovans could have helped in body fat distribution to make them better suited for the cold climates of Central Asia, and was passed on to modern humans when the two groups met and interbred. To our knowledge, this is the first time that a version of the gene inherited from the ancient humans is associated with a facial feature in modern humans. This is the first time that a version of a gene inherited from ancient humans is associated with facial features in modern humans. In this case, it was only possible because we moved beyond Eurocentric research. Modern day Europeans do not carry any DNA from Denisovans. Modern day Europeans don't carry this ish. But who do? The Native Americans. But who do? The Native Americans. But who do? God dang Native Americans. It is one of only a few studies looking for genes affecting the face in non-European populations, and the first one to focus on the profile only. One of the newly discovered, what is the what? One of the newly discovered genes, here go the other one, ladies and gentlemen, VPS13B, which influenced what? Nose pointness. Point your nose. Nose pointness. So there you go. 2 genes. The TBX15 and the VPS13B. The researchers found that this gene affects nose structure in mice, indicating a broadly shared genetic basis among distantly related mammal species. Researchers like this can provide basic biomedical insights and help us understand how humans evolved. The findings can help understand the developmental process that determine facial features, which will help researchers studying genetic disorders that lead to facial abnormalities. You want the rest of the results? You can read the whole article that was published in Science Advances. which I made sure that y'all got this in your notes. It's in the description. This is the article that they're referring to. What does the article state, ladies and gentlemen? The GWAS in Latin American identifies novel face-shaped loci implicating the VPS 13B and a Denisovan intergross region in facial variation. There you go. The associated region in the 1P12 includes a tract of archaic adaptive introgression with the Denisovan haplotype common in Native Americans, affecting particularly the lip area. Among the 9 previously unidentified facial morphology loci we identified is the VPS13B gene region, and we showed that variant in this region also affect mid-facial morphology in mice. You can go through and read the entire study if you want, or you can do yourself a favor over here to the right and drop that PDF, and you can make a copy of the PDF or download a copy of the PDF, and you can highlight what you need to highlight in case you want to argue. Let me move on a little bit forward. So, Danny also put up the other question. He talked about the origins of the Chinese. He said, are the Chinese, he's saying, are the Native Americans Chinese, and are the Chinese Africans? He kind of walking it back like that. Fundamentally, the fundamental argument is that all people that populated the globe are fundamentally from the continent. However, through migration, they began to roam into areas where they mutated and adapt over a period of time. So, we know who the Chinese are because they thought they came from somewhere where they didn't. Then they began to allow science to help them tell their story. When they did that, they understood themselves to be of 2 lineages. Expressed over here as one theory of human dispersal routes in Asia. We see that the L3 is an important characteristic, an important demarcation point for life that left out of Africa, the L3. It will go on and create the ends, and we see the ends where we get the ends and yada, yada, yada. This is significant because in Eastern Eurasia and down there where the Australords are, we see the flow of this specific. I ain't got to say all of that. Y'all know what I'm saying. I ain't even got to say no more. We know who the first people are based on science. Not what our grandmama said. Not what somebody want to believe. Not what Clyde Winters is trying to argue. Not what a Russian Jewish guy by the name of Leo Wiener tries to insinuate. Just don't have it. Don't have it. It ain't that. It ain't that. They were wrong. This is what I mean. They did not have the info for that. They didn't. So here we are. Hold on one good second. Hold on one good second. All right, so these people have everything to do with the mutation process too, because we see that these natives are yada, yada, yada. Now, let me stop sharing. I gave y'all some sources. I ain't trying to talk you to death. I'm trying to deal with the deal. I gave you 2 specific genes, and we got the out of Africa theory in play, and we can show you how we walk, how we talk, how we go. Now, we talked about Paleo Indians. We talked about the Clovis. We talked about the migrational patterns. We talked about particular rafts. We talked about the Ice Age. We talked about Wisconsin situation. We talked about these Paleo Indians showing up in all these different places. If you start putting these shows together that I've actually have done for you guys, we can see that there's no other people present. We also can see that there's no two cultures sharing an assimilation of a culture in the Americas. So there's undisturbed notions for these people that inhabit this place 16,000 years ago. So, dang, Sean, what are you really saying here? I don't want to get into the Clovis point. We familiar with the rock and how it looks and how they shape it and how the people did whatever it is they need to do. But we have evidence for all of that. But more importantly is this. Rav here, this is what she says. She says, I learned in the class that during the 1980s, linguistic evidence of morphological evidence and very early genetic evidence were integrated into the traditional model, producing an extremely popular synthesis called the three-wave migration hypothesis. This model divided all Native Americans into 3 groups based on language groupings: the Amerind, the Nadini, and the Inuit Aleut, which entered the Americas separately and sequentially. It was the so-called Amerinds who were descended from the Clovis people, with the other groups entering later, so-called. A few years later, after taking the class, now a newly accepted graduate student, I found out how wrong my professor had been. So originally, right, she was under the impression that the Clovis were first. This argument is against the Clovis first article. But then the DNA came about, right? When the DNA came about, the broader picture began to change, and then it began to challenge the Clovis first hypothesis in the 90s. And then they ended up finding out, yo, this ain't the right thing. And then based on a molecular clock, they can go back and yada, yada, yada. So that should bring y'all up to point. The yada, yada, yada is basically me skipping over a whole lot of talking points to basically say the first peoples. So I'm going to highlight this right here in yellow. I'm going to zoom in if I can. All right, anyway, depending on the accepted rate, coloscence of all mitochondrial haplogroups found in the first people of Americas was estimated at either between 20 to 15,000 years ago or between 30 to 20,000 years ago. Neither of these was compatible with the Clovis first model of initially people around 13,000-ish years ago. Next, as a geneticist, we're working on calculating these dates and arguing whether the Americas were peopled in a single migration of several archaeologists were turning up more and more convincing evidence of humans' presence in the Americas before Clovis. Now, she does a beautiful thing here by adding the rise and fall of three-wave migration. Not gonna bore you to death. We know that evidence changed all of that. So I'm gonna move on and get away from this Clovis stuff. With pre-Clovis stuff. Now, here we go. This supports some stuff I said the other day. The new dates for pre-Clovis sites pose new problems. we know that the ice-free corridor between the Laurentide and the Cordilleran ice sheets was opened up 13,000 years ago. There's evidence for gene flow between the bison populations north and south of the ice sheets occurring at this time. Osteological evidence for elk migration through the corridor about 12,800 years ago, and direct evidence of humans in the center of the corridor between 12,350 years ago. But was the corridor open long enough to allow people to walk through it in time to populate the pre-Clovis sites? This is a controversial question among archaeologists. Some believe that the corridor was open only between 15,000 and 14,000 years ago. These archaeologists tend to be more cautious about the validity of pre-Clovis. Other archaeologists, particularly those who accept the pre-Clovis sites of 16,000 years ago, believe that the corridor couldn't possibly have been open in time for an initial peopling via that route. This perspective is bolstered by several independent lines of genetic evidence discussed below. So we get into the genetic evidence. Now, I'm going to do us all a favor. That's why I told y'all got to get this book. This book got that working now. Have you heard of it? Out of Japan. The Out of Japan model rests primarily upon very striking similarities between western stem points found at sites of the Pacific coast and western interior of North America. Why would you close it? Yeah, don't close it. Some archaeologists have suggested a hypothesized starting point of Japan. The Out of Japan model primarily open up very striking similarities between western stem points found at the site of along the Pacific coast and the western interior of North America, and those found at the sites throughout Japan and Northeast Asia. These incipient Jomon sites date between 16 to 14,000 years ago. The people who lived at these sites, they hunted pigs, fish, dolphin, and turtles. They made bread from flour, composed ground nuts, and bird eggs, and nurtured the growth of wild plants, including beans of all kind of millet. These hunter-gatherers also made the earliest known pottery in the world after 15,000 years ago, which was decorated with cord patterns, called jamin, the origin of their name. So now you have a biological distance study. All of this is in here. This is why I said the book is so important, because it's giving you everything that people that's arguing online ain't even considering. What up, Omar? What up, Sid? So I'm going to move a little forward because I want to bring it all home. Now, I gave y'all 2 gene sites. 2. If they will go get their DNA done, it'll help them. It'll help end the madness. But whatever. Everybody should know this part right here. Anatomical modern humans started showing up in African fossil records as early as 300,000 to 270,000 years ago. They evolved gradually and moved around a bit before the major migration out of Africa, some of them being found in China dating to as old as 120,000 years, in Israel between 194 and 177,000 years ago, and in Greece 210,000 years ago. At this point in reading this book, you've probably already figured out that it can be difficult to reconcile different lines of evidence in understanding past events. This is true of human origins as well. On the one hand, we have fossil evidence combined with genetic evidence in Neanderthal genomes of African Homo sapien populations reproducing with European Neanderthals sometime prior to 200,000 years ago. Stop. I don't know if the brother is in the chat, but the Jesus Christ asked me a question about this, and he said, did you know that there's evidence of yada, yada, yada? And I told him, yes, Africans indeed interbred with Neanderthals. But we also knew this in 2017, 2018 because Reggie did not want to accept the fact that Africans were pound towning Neanderthals. He was denying that for quite some time because he was trying to call the Europeans Neanderthals, which was a dumb argument earlier on in people's pseudo history in 2017, 2018. Now, this seems to be a clearly point to a very early human movement in Africa. But on the other hand, when you look at the genomes from all ancient contemporary Homo sapien populations, you see clear evidence of their migration out of Africa much more recently, only 100,000 to 60,000 years ago. There are several possible explanations. Perhaps Greek fossils were actually Neanderthals. But one of them, as geneticist Elwin Scully notes, is multiple of semi-continuous migrations of humans out of Africa. Those who left and came back. So, could one of these possible early human dispersals have occurred in the direction of Siberia, across the Barren Land Bridge, and down through North America, all the way to California? Or could another kind of human, like a Neanderthal, Homo erectus, or Denisovan, have gotten to the Americas? Most archaeologists and geneticists are very skeptical of either possibility. From an archaeological perspective, no skeletal remains that look even remotely like early human have been found in the Americas. I'm going to say this again. No skeleton remains that look even remotely like early human have been found in the Americas. And we have non-dating from anywhere near that age. We also don't see any unambiguous stone tools known to have been made by these earlier peoples. No Achillean hand axes made by Homo erectus or Mousterian knives and scrapers made by Neanderthals, or Oranacean blades made by the upper Paleolithic modern humans and Neanderthals. But guess what, y'all? What is found at the very early sites in the Americas tend to be either less direct evidence of human presence or stones that some archaeologists suggest were flaked by humans. During much of the early human history, many stone tools were created by flaking pieces off a stone called a core. Both the flakes and the core were used as tools. But how do you tell the difference between a flake removed from a larger stone by human hands, an artifact, and one that broke off naturally, a geofact? Every professional archaeologist I've ever met has had to deal with the countless numbers of people bringing them random rocks that they insist are tools. Humans are extremely good at detecting patterns, even where there are none. And the field of pseudo archaeology rests upon countless evidence for its non-mainstream claim from this phenomenon. So, the validity of an earlier archaeological site in the Americas is assessed according to specific set of standards. For a site to be accepted as genuine, it has to have securely dated, undisturbable evidence of a human presence in an undisturbed stratigraphic context. In other words, the site has to have some object clearly created or used by humans, or human remains themselves dating in the geological layer that has not been disturbed or mixed with other layers. What up, Kevin? Kevin says, this is what's so unique about the Native American founders. They were the only people to be in a place and explicitly code adapted to survive in the high Arctic and to enter into the Americas. Facts. That is absolutely correct. And this is why we don't see a disturbed culture before the entering of a people who were germaphobes at this particular time. bringing old world diseases to the new world, so to say, which really wasn't a new world, but for it, but for Homo sapiens sapiens, it was uninhabitable and therefore inhabited by Homo sapiens in pretty recent history for Homo sapiens, if you look at the larger scope. Now, the Pleistocene environments constrained when people could have entered the Americas in the past, while it was at full extent between about 26,000 and 19,000 years ago. Glacial ice would have prevented travel out of the Beringer. Now, barring the possibility that there was some of the yet undiscovered path through the ice wall, people could have migrated before 26,000 years ago or after 19,000 years ago. Currently, the weight of evidence leans more towards the 19,000 year side. But there are some sites in the South America that have been recently discovered, dated to as old as 30,000 years ago. So when you heard me say 30,000 years ago, there was people in the Americas, I am referring more specifically towards South America and Central America area, because they are leaning on evidence that they are still uncovering, but they have, as of right now, of early those people coming through the Pacific at the time, which was a low, wasn't that deep. It wasn't as deep as it is now, but they can raft their way from those smaller islands to like the Mexico and South America. Pretty much, there's real small islands off the Pacific that allow that to happen, because it's like if you go so far, you run into land. You go so far, you run into land. There's this pattern of land that etches all the way to that side of the Pacific, to the to South America and Central America. If you have not seen that before, I will pull it up and we will get into it. The reason that I know about it and many other people probably don't, I'm sure there's other people in the chat that do, is because Sitepin Ramiriaman was like, yo, bro, yada, 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 yada. Then we went on to kind of argue a little bit. Then we pulled up the map, zoom all the way in, and we started seeing them islands and stuff like that. Then we get with that. We follow the evidence. Now, I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit, because we're locked in on what we're talking about over the past few days. All of this locks in basically what we're saying. So I do want to talk about, maybe I need to go back, because this is where she introduces the White Sands Locality 2 site. And we need to go take a look at this right here. And I'm gonna do that, and then we'll take a look at what she's talking about here. Now, the footprints at the White Sands Locality 2 site provided even stronger evidence. If their 23,000 to 21 year dates are accurate, that at least some people were in North America during the LGM. Depending on how early the initial migration was, the interior route may have been a plausible pathway for them. For the most part, however, the majority of the colleagues are skeptical of the sites this old. We'll discuss genetic evidence later, but quite a few geneticists, I will go on record here as one of them, are very much open to the possibility that there could have been people in the Americas during or prior to the LGM. We optimistically await the crucial evidence that could reconcile the archaeological and genetic records. We will discuss some of this in the models, in the archaeological and genetic records in chapter 7, if I want to get there with y'all. However, I want to pause right there, and I want to take some of y'all who are unfamiliar with this site to the site. Why I want to do that? Because we learning. We're gonna do what other people don't want to. So this, you do today what other people want, so you can have tomorrow what other people don't. So I'm gonna put this site up, but I got to get rid of all this other stuff. And then I got to get rid of this. And I'm going to hit it up. So Let's go look at her Twitter. And we're going to go somewhere else to substantiate what we put on Twitter. I ain't got Twitter, so y'all can go holler at it if you want to. White Sands Locality 2 is a series of human and non-human giant ground sloths, mammoths, footprints excavated from the edge of a lake. The authors dated the footprints, which are in a series of surfaces used in radiocarbon dating of seeds within the layer. That's what she says there in her tweet. Now, she goes on to show, again, I defer to Tom Hemmerman for explaining how to correctly reservoir effects and so forth. They dated between 21,000 and 22,000 years ago. These are the footprints, y'all. Why is their footprints showing up? This is how you do evidence. You come across a place and you see something you ain't used to seeing, and they're in old fossilized rocks. What's even worse? She doubles down to help people out. So here you go. And this is how they know the footprints of animals and humans and yada, yada, yada. Right? But now let's go back. Let's go somewhere else. Let me do this real quick. All right, so I put that on there for a reason, because I don't want us to really get a copyright and then they mess up the video. So I'm gonna be real unique right here. Very unique. We're not gonna watch too much of it, but we're gonna try to get to where we need to in the video and try to and see what they're saying. So they're talking about the site. Oh, I want to get to footprints.
Back where your modern print was appeared. So this was taken from last week, but the prints I showed just a second ago, those were taken from about 4 years ago. So these prints, as long as you don't disturb the top layer, they'll last for a very long time. But once they're exposed, then they rapidly erode away. The other thing that's really important about the trackways at White Sands is they're of great distance, and because they're so long, you'll get to see really incredible interactions, and that's what some of the information that Matthew will speak about in a little while. But some of our trackways go for over 2 miles, so just really extreme lengths that can be seen. Because they're so long, you often get to see many interactions where the animals step back and forth on top of each other, and the people cross-cut the animal prints, and the animals cross-cut the people prints.
Now, so this is unique here. Why is this even unique at all, ladies and gentlemen? Because they just stumbled up on this, man. Look. I know some of y'all may be interested in this or not, so this is why I'm showing. They're doing the work, bro. And this ain't even got that many views. And we're talking about arguing with people who are claiming to already have been over here. Now we know specifically that they couldn't have already been over here.
Text of Clovis archaeology, so-called Clovis archaeology.
Let me go back a little bit.
About one thing I'll
Hold up. because I need to talk right here because I ain't trying to give nobody nothing right now. But let's look at this. This is the beauty of anthropology, paleontologists, geneticists, archaeologists. When you start marrying all those sciences to show and prove, people run in the other direction. We talked Paleo-Indian archaeology on a previous show. We talked pre-Clovis sites and routes. We talked about all these things these archaeologists have already been talking about. Now, we didn't get specific with these footprints. But listen, let's see what they say.
Started focusing my research in the Southwest. One of my interests was in ancient lake basins. There were a series of large lakes scattered throughout the Southwest. Here, most of them in New Mexico, a few in Arizona, in
hey, real
Mexico.
Quick, let me address Shay. Shay, wasn't no black people in the Americas. There was no black people in the Americas. When we say black people, we are referring to early Africans. We are talking about people that look like you and I. We're not talking about Australoids. I'm telling you right now, there is no people that we are related to, however you want to shape it, that was here. The only people that was here was Eurasians, Siberians, right? And Central Asians. From the Oceania route, from the Beringer route. That's how they come into the New World. The people that was in Canada, the Eurasians or the Europeans, the Vikings, that's a later period. That ain't in no earlier stuff. That's later on down the line. Listen to me. The people that are claiming to have already been here was not here. Because when the Paleo-Indian entered the Americas, it was uninhabitable. How could you be somewhere that's uninhabitable during it before the ice rescinds? So if it's uninhabitable then, where was they at? Where was these so-called black people at? They wouldn't even been black because of the climate. They would have had lighter skins. They would have been hella light skinned. And I know you're joining late and you missed all the earlier stuff that transpired, but we have evidence of other things and genes that indicate that these Native Americans that were in the Americas from as far back as 17,000, or some argue 20,000, whatever they want to argue, whether it's in the Central America or South America, but I'm specifically talking North America at this juncture, we have evidence of a Paleo-Indian culture from as wide as Virginia to California, undisturbed. So if it was people already here, what happened when them Indians started coming down from Canada and through the Bering and up from Clovis, Mexico, up into North America? What happened? There's no wars that are actually going on, or there's no genetic evidence of another different group of people populating the Americas. We would see two different gene flows. We would have evidence of a people that was already here. How do we find evidence of Paleo-Indians here, but we don't find evidence of no other people being here before the Paleo-Indians? That's craziness right there that you're kicking. So, yeah, you need to listen. Do what the chat say.
Over 100 in the Great Basin off to the west. And I started focusing my research largely in New Mexico because I knew there was an archaeological, Paleo-Indian archaeological record to go with the lakes, and I was interested in understanding this. Never thought I would get to work in the Tularosa Basin because most of it's owned by the US military. But by happenstance in 2012, I was invited to look at some tracks in the park in White Sands. And that's when I first met David. And they turned out to be giant ground sloth, not humans, but that was my entree to working in the park. And it's been a remarkable experience for a whole variety of reasons for over 10 years now, working there on the archaeological record and the geological record, and culminating with this astonishing discovery that Matthew and David have been talking about. One thing I'll second what Matthew was saying about David. I certainly owe, we all owe David a great debt for his pushing this research. He was already working on this when humans arrived, going back several centuries, talking in when humans arrived, going back of the Americas. This has been a debate, well, forever, since people started asking questions about when humans arrived, going back several centuries. And then more recently, talking in the context of Clovis archaeology, so-called Clovis archaeology. As most of you know, a lot of Paleo-Indian archaeology is focused around stone tools, because that's in 9.9% of the cases, that's mostly what we have to work with, is the stone tools. And it helps that we see some spectacular artifacts. The tool making abilities of the first Americans is really quite remarkable. And for many, many years, for decades, the thinking was that Clovis was the earliest. They were certainly the oldest, easily recognized, well-dated, obvious artifact style, with these stereotypical points you see on the left of the screen there. Some of the very first ones from the Clovis type site. And Clovis was recognized by the 1950s as the earliest well-recognized assemblage. There's also artifact assemblages called Western Stemmed in the Great Basin that are probably some as old as Clovis. But then this raised the question of immediately, of course, was there anybody here before Clovis? And that debate's been going on since the 1950s. And it's a endless debate, acrimonious debate at times. There are good reasons why this is, though I won't get into. This debate persists, but it is one of the great debates in American archaeology. And also, we're dealing with the last major human migration in human prehistory, the peopling of the Americas, much later, of course, than in Europe and elsewhere. Well, why is this a big debate, or what's the source of the debate? Why can't we just go out and identify these sites? Well, first of all, there's an issue of, is the site an archaeological site? Is it a place where people lived and we can see the evidence of that? And a lot of the debate is over dealing with broken stones and broken bones. And so you see papers with diagrams such as this. This is a bone assemblage. The Cerruti site in California is very controversial, and people spending a lot of time, and with reason, but spending a lot of time trying to make an argument that these bones were broken by people, not by some natural forces. And the same thing, you see illustrations like this, very detailed look at stone tools or stone, and making arguments.
Hey, I want to do this real quick because we're missing context going into what he's talking about right now. But I want to show Shay One something. Yeah, there go footprints again. These sites, some possible pre-Clovis site locations. But I showed this the other day where we know where we got other sites. Now, you finna tell me that before, look at that, did the White Sand folks arrive earlier? Remember, I just showed y'all about the White Sands, right? But you're finna tell me that people are populating North America. Look at all this ice. How, Sway? Where they coming from? With what technology? Now, you can get people from the Oceania direction coming from the south, as I stated, but the people that are coming down, we start to see them come down when this ice start melting and the oceans begin to rise back up. All this ice is what causes the water to rise. People ain't even understanding that. Look, these are the two sites where they got people coming through. Here go the two sites. Clovis, New Mexico. You got stuff all down over here. Man, listen, bro. We ain't playing, but this ain't the only way that this was populated, because there's some islands off over here that sprinkle all the way over here that get you to Central America and potentially closer to South America. We have that, and I'm gonna show them out. But I wanted to bring this. I'm gonna drop this in the chat for anybody interested in the actual whole presentation. I'm gonna drop this in the chat for y'all, because I know that that's unique. That's a unique position for a lot of people. Now, let me stop sharing this. Let me stop sharing this, and let me get back to to show y'all this map. All right, so this is a good spot. Everybody should be able to see this. Y'all see this, right? Okay. Now, here go Hawaii right there. So y'all like, how in the world? Watch this. Look at them little islands start to show up. Let me go over a little bit. Look at them little islands right there. Y'all thought I was playing? There's land right there. It's land right there, y'all. Look how far I gotta zoom in. It's land right there. Let me zoom. Look. They can rift. They can do what they said do when the ocean wasn't the ocean. We already had this in our back chat. That's why Sutek and them know. We talked about this already. I just showed y'all land right here in the middle. But watch this. Let me get closer to right here and start zooming in. We got that. Y'all seen that on the map. I don't even know where I'm at. All right, Mexico. Look, so there go Hawaii, right? They can drift in. Coming from them little small little lands, they can raft in. I got us in number water right now. What's the best view? You see these look. Is that better for y'all? Just so y'all think I ain't crazy. Huh? Look. Papua New Guinea. Oh, y'all thought it was a game. Oh, y'all didn't know Australia was that close? Oh, y'all didn't know that. Huh? We had these conversations already in our back chat. Look, that ain't that far away from there. Yeah, it's gonna take a while. But if you don't have that force of the Pacific being as high as it is today, it ain't that long. It ain't that long for them. Look how close that is. Coming off them islands. I told you, everywhere you go, it seemed like, oh, you getting tired. Oh, you getting tired. Oh, shit, there goes some land. Let's rest. Oh, shit, there go another little piece of land. Let's rest. Put him in his cage. Now, let him outside to use the bathroom again, and then I'll put him in there. But there you go. And it don't stop, bro. It don't stop. Look, we can get to Hawaii. We can get to Hawaii. Look at that. We can get to Hawaii. Huh? Oh, really? The Philippines? We can drift. We can drift. Wake Island. Huh? Woo. It's a lot of water. But they're finding evidence for boats. So y'all saying no black people came before Columbus? None. Zero. Zilch. None of them was black. If it was black people that came, they came with Columbus, and they were free blacks. No damn blacks were here before Columbus. Get this shit out of here. Man, bro, you better hold on. All right, so I just wanted to show y'all that because I know people ain't even looked at these. Look at this, America Samoa. Why? What is America Samoa doing way over here? They ain't nowhere near America. They just claiming little lands over here like it ain't nothing. Just colonizing. But people wasn't even paying attention to all these little islands. They just think it's just body of water out there. But when you zoom in correctly, you're going to see. This is a desperate spot. If you out here rifting, boy, this is a desperate spot. You're going to have to go north so you can relax before you do anything. Anyway, I wanted to show y'all on that map just so you know I wasn't making none of this up. So the claim that Native Americans told Columbus black skin, that is not what he said. That's not what he said. He didn't say that he saw black skinned people. He didn't. He always thought the people was Indians. He never said this. Where are you getting this from? Go read his actual writings. It's specifics about who he says. There wasn't no black people here. He wasn't even referring to black people. Why do we keep on being ignorant? Let me move forward. Entire screen. Back on the shelf. All right, let's get back to Dr. Ralph. Now, she's sticking to the science. For early sites, the key problems tend to be the need for an undisputable evidence of human presence. Is a rock flake a tool, or was it created naturally? Many things can cause a stone to break, including normal geological processes like water. Even the actions of animals like capturing monkeys can result in the creation of broken rocks that could be mistaken for human tools. Let's move forward. So now let's bring it up here. New models to consider. If the evidence for archaic humans is lacking at present, does this mean that people weren't in the Americas prior to 16,000, 15,000 years ago? No, not necessarily. The key questions is, which pre-Clovis sites are legitimate evidence of human presence in the Americas? And could there be earlier ones that we haven't yet detected? We have so many gaps in both genetic and archaeological records that more data in the future may reveal additional evidence consistent with the people here during or even before the LGM. The White Sands Locality 2 site is a good illustration of this. At the time of this writing, the paper describing the site is just days away from publication. The authors kindly let me have an advanced copy. By the time you're reading this book, the archaeological community will have extensively scrutinized and debated the evidence. Some will agree with that this is a paradigm-changing site. Concrete evidence of the people of North America during the LGM. Others will find technical faults in the dates and the stratigraphy of the site. They will have more trouble dismissing the site as lacking evidence of humans, as the footprints are spectacular and unmistakable. Where are the other sites like this? Critics may ask. After all, New Mexico isn't exactly neglected by archaeologists. Shouldn't we have found other earlier sites by now? The counter argument may be that there were so few people during that period that detecting the presence may be extremely difficult without a better understanding of how and where they lived, perhaps like the Folsom site. White Sands' enduring legacy is what it teaches us about where we should focus archaeological scrutiny. All right. So it is also possible that there were people in the Americas at a very early date who did not contribute ancestry to any later contemporary groups. We don't know how often this has occurred in human history, but examples have been identified through the study of ancient genomes. For example, the 45,000-year-old human from the Uset Ishim site in Western Siberia and the so-called ancient Beringers from Alaska left no direct genetic ancestors that we can find. And we have archaeological document evidence of Norse presence in the Americas prior to 1490s. But as mentioned previously, no genetic traces have been found from the group in the genomes of any ancient or present-day Native Americans. In short, genetic evidence argues against the presence of archaic humans in the Americas during the Paleolithic. Archaeological evidence from extremely early sites such as the Cerruti is unconvincing. Archaeological evidence from sites like White Sands that date to the LGM is much harder to dismiss. It may be that people were in the Americas by 25,000 years ago. Figuring out how that finding fits the genetic evidence is a new puzzle to solve. But I think that while we exercise a healthy skepticism, we must learn our lessons from the erroneous Clovis first paradigm and not simply dismiss evidence because it doesn't fit the model we happen to favor. We shouldn't simply replace Clovis first with a similar dogmatic upper limit. All scientists must hold themselves open to the possibility that we could be wrong. And it may very well be that in 5, 10, or 20 years, this book will be as out of date as any other. That possibility is what makes working in this field so rewarding. She's telling you right then and there, not to replace the Clovis first hypothesis, but store it away. Although we know we have evidence for the Paleo-Indian presence. Two things could be true regarding the evidence that we have, but we know the Clovis is dated at a particular period. So could the Clovis date be inaccurate, or the Paleo-Indian date need to come down some? That is left to be argued with evidence. I want to go to chapter 3 and start talking about this Eastern Beringer during the Pleasantine area, but I don't want to get off with anybody. So what I want to do right now, though, you know what I'm saying, because I'm feeling like somebody got a lot to say. You know what I'm talking about? Since somebody got a lot to say, They got a lot of questions with, and that's all y'all have is questions. That's all y'all have is questions. Dark skin don't mean nothing, bro. It don't mean nothing. Desmond is correct. Desmond is correct. That's what Shay One is talking about. The whole thing about the gold tip spear story that we already talked about and debunked on another show or platform. We dealt with that already. That is it. Desmond is cha-ching on the money one more time. Vasco Nunez does not say that he saw black people. Where is this at? Where is this at? Where is Vasco saying that he saw black people? Do you not know a skin map? They don't even say that they, come on, man. Why, what are you doing? You're just gonna keep just running through names. Vasco Nunez says, you're just gonna say everybody black. Where your source at? Because somebody is claiming that this guy said that he encountered Negroes. And guess what all of this is going to lead us back to? We came before Columbus. Every claim that's being made in the chat right now is a person uttering, we came before Columbus. Sutek, the claim comes from the person who wrote, we came before Columbus. There is no evidence or record. So let's get to it. Let's deal with the facts. Let's deal with the facts. Huh? Let's deal with the facts. Let's see what it is. Let's see what the facts is. What are the facts? Vasquez Nunez de Balboa. The original article comes from 2009. It was updated July 21st, 2022. What does it say? It says, the 16th century Spanish conquistador and explorer Vasquez Nunez de Balboa. Hold on, y'all. Somebody hit the panel. Somebody hit the panel and then somebody dropped out. There you go. Suteca in the belly. All right. Now, it says Balboa helped establish the first stable settlement in South America continent at Darien, on the coast of Isthmus in Panama in 1513. While leading an expedition in search of gold, he sighted the Pacific Ocean. Balboa claimed the ocean and all of its shores for Spain, opening the way for later the western coast of South America. Balboa's achievement and ambition posed as a threat to Pedro Arias Davila, the Spanish governor of Darien, who falsely accused him of treason and had him executed in 1519. Earlier life and career, Balboa was born 1475 in a town impoverished Extremadura region of Spain. Around 1500, he joined Spanish explorers, present-day Colombia, because this is where they all going, present-day Colombia, then returned to the island of Hispaniola Bay by Haiti and Dominican Republic and sought to make a living as a farmer. After falling into debt, he fled his creditors by stowing away an expedition carrying supplies on the colony of San Sebastian, located on the coast of Europe, now Colombia, in 1510. We're going to deal with the facts. Now, the colony had been largely abandoned by the time they arrived after local Native Americans killed many of the colonists. Balboa's suggestions decided to move western on the guide of Yoruba Uraba on the coast of Isthmus of Panama, the small strip of land connecting Central and South America. In the region, local Indians were more peaceful, and a new colony Darien would become the first stable Spanish settlement south of on the South American continent. This is what he sees. 1511. Balboa was acting as an interim governor of Darien. Under his authority, the Spanish dealt harshly with native inhabitants of the region in order to get gold and other riches from some of these Indians. They learned that a wealthy empire lay to the south, possibly a reference to Inca. 1513, Balboa led an expedition of 190 Spaniards and a number of Indians southward across the Isthmus of Panama. Late that same month, Balboa climbed a mountain peak and sighted the Pacific Ocean, which the Spanish called the Mar del Sur, the South Sea. Now, meanwhile, unbeknownst to Balboa, King Ferdinand II had appointed an elderly nobleman, Pedro Ellis de Villa, as the new governor of Darien. As a reward of his explorations, Balboa was named governor of the Panama and Cobia and authority. Now, first, there's several things that we've read so far. Balboa is precisely identifying Indians. He's not saying black people. He ain't saying black. He ain't saying Negro. He ain't saying African. They calling these people what they thought they knew that they were coming across, and that was Indians. So this just talks about his downfall and his beheading. Now, people want to argue, but look, they got the man in the museum in a park, and they got the following the footsteps of him. And the article title, the author, and where you can go scrub the ground. But that's not it. That's not it. There's more, because they came before Columbus is saying this. So where is that evidence?
He said who built all this shit, all the statues and shit before Columbus, because they wasn't building shit. The Native Americans, apparently.
Yeah, they was. The Native Americans was. Okay, so who said that they wasn't? Where's the proof that the Native Americans wasn't building shit? When they came here, they recognized that they was already doing these things. They saw civilized people. Why are you making things up in the chat? The link is in the chat, bro. Hit the link. Come with your
evidence. Him, hop on. You gonna ask all them damn questions?
Bring your evidence. Don't talk us to death. Everything that he's saying in the chat is coming from Ivan Van Sertima. I am telling you this.
When you see dark-skinned people, you got to get out of immediately thinking black or African, because that's not it. That's not what science says, bro. You can be dark-skinned from the area you indigenous to. You indigenous to certain zones, certain tropical zones and shit. The UV rays are more intense. So you're going to need that melanin. That don't necessarily mean that they are racially black.
Devin, keep on doing it, bro. Devin, keep on doing it. Because we all know, bro. There you go. Here goes his comment. Devin, right here. They get confused because one of them said that their skin was like the Ethiopians, but they don't read the rest of the quote when he say they look like Asians from the Orient.
Got spears flying from the chat.
Man. Let that person, you can't let them on.
Yeah, nah, StreamYard be kicking me off.
I want the evidence. I don't want no conversation. I want to read what you read.
You just read one of the things I read. I'm not contesting anything y'all saying. I'm just asking the questions that's out there. I'm not saying y'all lying. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just presenting. Again, I came late. I don't know what y'all debunk or claim y'all debunk. I'm not saying y'all lying or anything like that. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, wow.
You say
Y'all
you
saying, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm not going against anything y'all saying, but stuff gotta add up. These Native Americans y'all talking about, right? Let's one be clear. Ain't no such thing as an Indian. That's one thing. So you talking about these people that supposedly came from the Bering Strait, right? These are the Amerindians y'all talking
That ain't
about, right?
no, they're not even called that.
That's their new name. We just using that word for conversation's sake, so we know
But
who
you
we
gotta
talking
slow
about.
down because that's not that. They're Paleo Indians. Just say Paleo.
Where are these Paleo Indians from?
When did you join the show?
I
No,
just
man, I'm asking a
2
legitimate.
hours ago, like an hour ago.
Right. Okay.
Where Paleo Indians from?
Okay. So did you not see me show a map showing where these people came from?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So the Paleo Indian come in many instances. They come from the south. They come from
South
the
of what?
north. What?
Like South America, you saying?
No. All right. So you get the Clovis culture coming from the south up to the north. You get the Paleo Indians coming through the Beringer, through the two. All right. So you remember I just showed Canada being covered in ice.
Right.
And then there was a split in that ice, and then there was two corridors. On one side and then on the other side, there was a split where they could come down through that into North America. Then, as the ice rescinds due to climatic change, then you start to see more Paleo Indians coming in. Now, what evidence do we have of this? We have archaeological evidence that was actually shown on the show. This is part 2. That's on part 1. It's only an hour and a half. But a lot of that information is earlier on. And it shows us the culture. We see this. But what I have on the screen is what you said in the chat, talking about Columbus said he's seen some people.
I never said Columbus said he's seen black people. I said natives told him that they saw black-skinned people.
No.
I never said that Columbus said he saw black people.
I've never read a native saying that they seen black-skinned people in none of the primary sources regarding him. No native has ever told them that they've seen a black person. That ain't, and Van Sertima don't even come up with that.
Van Sertima ain't the only person that ever said that black people was here before Columbus. He's not the only person that made that claim.
Who else said it?
The white dude.
People have said that.
Nah, who? No. Who else? Who else said it, bro?
Okay.
Tell us who said it.
That's a legitimate question. You just said more people said it. So who was these?
Most of the posts that you see, if you Google, they came before Columbus. Hold on, y'all don't cut me off. Van Sertima isn't the only person they quote. It's tons of information. Now, if y'all gonna say that they fake or they lying, that's cool. I can respect that. But people don't just quote him.
Listen to what I'm asking. Who are they, bro? Let's deal with they. We heard Van Sertima.
People that study, archaeologists, people that study the land.
There's no
hold on. Again, there's statues all over. Hold on, there's statues. Hold on.
That agree with Van Sertima,
hold on, there's statues all over North America and South America that predate Columbus. Who built them?
From the they. We trying to figure out who they is. Don't
just Google it. All you gotta do is Google they came before Columbus. Van Sertima isn't the only person that came up. If you're saying that they're lying, I can respect that.
Everybody that if I put that in there,
you're gonna see a bunch of people. You're gonna see a bunch of commentary on it. You're not just gonna see Van Sertima.
I'm going to see everybody refer to Ivan Van Sertima. Okay. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
So where do
whoever don't go to Van Sertima, go to Leo Wiener.
Exactly. Okay. That's the origin of the they came before Columbus is Leo Wiener, a Russian Jewish guy. That's the origin of the claim.
Okay, so what do they get? What do they get out of lying about this? Like,
it was news, bro.
What do they get out of lying about black people being here? What do they get out of that?
Lying, it just was wrong.
Wrong about what? So they just made up a lie about seeing dark-skinned people.
You keep saying no, bro.
I'm asking y'all, make it make sense.
I'm saying you lying at this point.
I'm not lying. So
you're
Ivan Van
telling me
Sertima
that
just what do
you're
he
telling
again
me what's so,
explain
all right.
what did he
Can you
get
share
out
your
of lying?
screen? Can you share your screen?
What do no, I can't. What do he get out of
Okay, so
lying about saying
If
black
you
people?
can't share your screen, tell me where to go find the evidence of someone saying what you just said.
Saying what? That black people came before.
No. Listen to me. Tell me where to go so you can tell me where to find evidence of whoever they is saying that they saw.
I just told you you could go on Google and Google black people came before Columbus. I'm not saying this is facts. I'm just saying you can find you saying that it only comes from Ivan Van Sertima. That's fine. I just said I respect that if that's how you feel. All I'm asking is, what did he get out of lying about saying black people were in South America or North America? What do they get out of where is that? Why did they come up with that? What was the reason to lie about that?
All right. So
what was the benefit of lying about seeing black people here?
Yes, first of all, what Van Sertima got out of a book that he had to rewrite over 20 times or more, right? He had to keep on changing his work because he didn't have the evidence that supported the earlier edits, right? And he didn't have it on the last part. However, he's fighting against academia's perspective of how they're trying to spread white supremacy and write history. But he gets a Russian Jewish guy by the name of Leo Wiener that introduces a hypothesis to him, and I'm saying this nicely, as a hypothesis to him. And he runs with this thought because it was new and it was never heard or spoken for before. It wasn't just Van Sertima who hopped on the train. Someone that's influential in African American history, who has a library in Brooklyn Museum, introduced Van Sertima to other black people, and Leo Wiener to other black people. Schomburg, Arthur Schomburg, is in his biography, bro. He tell us how this coming to fruition in his book. He introduced us to the guy. The guy gets it from another guy. We can't blame Van Sertima for his lack of following proper research methodology and verifying the claim. We deal with the guy behind him, Leo Wiener, who bullshitted us into a story because he had an agenda. So what we do is we go with the actual primary sources and regarding to what Columbus and all of them say what they saw, and none of them are talking about black people. They took the whole black spirit tip argument and tried to say black people. That wasn't the encounter. They were wrong on that, talking about they seen these before, these black gold tip spears and yada, 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 back over in Africa, yada, 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 but there's no evidence of that. There's no evidence of Africans internally I'm saying internally because externally would include Van Sertima. So there's no Africans internally talking about sea travel to a new world and meeting new people and trading with these people. None. There's no record of that. There's no record of the Indians, the people, the Paleo Indians, the people that were here, whose DNA we have, whose archaeological evidence we have. They ain't saying that they seen these black people. They're not. The only essence of black people being in the Americas is coming from out of they came before Columbus and Leo Wiener. There's no other authors that are actually on the forefront of that argument. Leo Wiener and then Ivan Van Sertima. No other authors. Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, Chancellor Williams, John G. Jackson, all of them referred to, they stayed out of that argument and referred to Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. Then you get Sheikh Enti involved in a correspondence between Van Sertima and him, and they're talking about something totally different. They ain't talking about nothing else. And then the cocaine mummies thing come into play, or the tobacco come into play. Like all of that is craziness. Because Sheikh and Dijon ain't claiming any of that. He's worried about his fight with academia. Because this is in the forefront of information of Western Europe, I can say that, Western Europeans setting the agenda for what history is supposed to look like. You got the Jewish community writing against them, the Chinese, the Asian communities writing against the Western worldview. There was a battle over information on how the world should be seen based on information in books. All of this was about scholarship, whether it was inaccurate or just all the way wrong. So I'm not saying that.
I'm following you.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
I'm just saying I never knew. I never heard like a reason why like the why Van Serneman would say that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I always wondered like what would he get out of lying about that? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it's like it's so true. I'm not with that. I'm not like this super we not African. I'm just putting out what's out there. I never heard nobody explain where he got that idea from. People saying I don't know somebody in the comments and I don't know primary sources. I'm not. It don't have nothing to do with it. I'm going about what information is out there. I never saw like why he made that assertion.
Have you read the other side to that argument?
Yeah, I don't know.
And personally, I don't think, just like you said something. I don't know if y'all be saying like other channels, Aboriginal TV. You said that America was uninhabitable at one point in time. That's something I alluded to. I don't believe nobody was really native here. And the reason why I say that is because you don't see anything built here really prior to Columbus. It just was open land. If you look at what these Native Americans was building, they built like huts and stuff like that. I'm talking about monuments and buildings.
Nah, they built stuff to.
They didn't build stuff like that, bro.
Yeah, no.
I'm from Jersey. They did not build any. They didn't have buildings and stuff like that. They had huts.
So while the mounds and shit,
they built mounds and stuff that to live in. They didn't build like structural, things like that. Which means to me that this land in America, all over America, was just open land. Which goes to your point, which you said it was inhabitable here. So that would mean that people came here and found open land, right?
No, so you saying they didn't build shit, but all these mounds, the Olmec heads and all that, like
all
that,
the Olmec,
that don't count.
Olmec heads. So that's what I'm saying. Let's go to the Olmec heads.
He's talking about a different period from me, because what I'm talking about when it was uninhabitable, I'm talking about
Ice Age and shit like that.
17,000 years ago, bro.
Yeah,
but even then, that's what I'm saying. Even then, somebody still would have to have come inside after.
Listen to me. By the time they start populating the Americas, they still had 13,000 years before they would encounter a European, bro. You don't think
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if America was inhabitable at one point in time, that means people would have to have come inside of it after it was, right?
No, these people
weren't here.
These people that we're calling Paleo Indians,
they were not here either. Nobody was in North America.
Listen to what I'm saying, bro. At one point in time, it was uninhabitable. We're talking less than 30,000 years ago. But as things began to change and open up, people began to dwell in North and South and Central.
Coming from where? Coming from where?
The Beringer.
Right. I said that. They came from the Bering. Right.
Right. They're coming from that place.
So what were these people originally? What were they?
Because we're jumping from seven.
I'm not jumping. I'm just saying what I'm saying.
BCE to 1400.
What I'm saying is I don't think there's really no natives of America, because everybody had to come here. And what I'm saying is proof of that is this was just open land.
No,
by the time Columbus got here, there wasn't anything built here.
Based on the way things are defined and are mentioned, you're saying no one was here, and the science is saying you're absolutely right. They began to inhabit North, Central, and South America over a period of time, coming from Eurasia, through the Beringer, through Oceania. Those people began to people what we're calling the quote unquote new world. So no, I understand what you're saying, but once they began to inhabit it, these people began to be native to this place that over time, it took time, thousands of years to inhabit this place. So they were here, the first people of the Americas, quote unquote. But yes, it was uninhabitable at one point. And we have the evidence to support that. But we ain't saying no one is indigenous, but if you look at the definition, indigenous is murky, and it says if you inhabited a place and you're there for a while, then you've been there before everybody else. It's your land, you was here first, kind of stuff. But what I have on my screen, if you see my screen, bro, is the journal of Christopher Columbus, 1492. His first encounters between Europeans and Native Americans. This is his first encounter, Thursday, October 11th. Now, there's something very specific here that he says. How does he describe these people? They go as naked as when their mothers bore them. And so do the women, although I did not see more than one young girl. All I saw were youths, none more than 30 years of age. They're all very well made, very handsome bodies, and very good countenances. Their hair is short and coarse, almost like hairs of a horse tail. They wear the hairs brought down to their eyebrows, except a few locks behind, which they wear long and never cut. They paint themselves black, and they are the color of Canarians, neither black nor white. Some paint themselves white, others red, and others of what color they find. Some paint their faces, others their whole bodies. Some only round the eyes, others only on the nose. They neither carry nor know anything of arms. For I showed them swords, and they took them by the blade and cut themselves through ignorance. They have no iron, their darts being wound without irons, some of them having fish hooks at the end, and others being pointed in various ways. They are all fair stature and size, and good laces, and well made. Here. I saw some of the marks of the wounds of their bodies, and I made signs to ask what it was, and they gave me to understand that the people from other adjacent islands came with the intention of seizing them, and that they defended themselves. I believe and still believe that they come here from the mainland to take them prisoners. They should be good servants and intelligent. I observed that they quickly took in what was said to them, and I believe that they would easily be made Christians, as it appeared to me that they had no religion. Our Lord, being pleased, will take hence, and at a time of departure, 6 narratives for your highness, that they may learn to speak. I saw no beast of any kind except parrots on this land. The above is the words of the admiral. As soon as the dawn broke, many of these people came to the beach, all youths, as I have said, all as of good stature and very handsome. Their hair is curly, not curly, but loose and coarse like horsehair. And all the forehead is broad, more so than any other people I have hitherto seen. Their eyes are very beautiful and not small, and themselves far from black, but the color of Canarians, nor should anything else be expected, as this island is in line east and west from the island of Hero of the Canaries. Their legs are very straight, all in line, no belly, but very well formed. They came to the ship in small canoes made out of trunk of a tree like a long boat, and all of one piece, and wonderfully worked considering the country. They are large, some of them holding 40 to 45 men, others smaller, and some only large enough to hold one man. I'm gonna stop right there. But he gave us the description twice on the people he encountered on the 11th, which was a Thursday. It goes further. Because in this same article, if we keep going to get the primaries on and on and on, we're gonna figure out that the gold spear tip thing is gonna debunk a whole lot of stuff that's already been debunked. What we're saying though is that people have not went behind to update Ivan Van Sertima's work. There's a lot of science now that was not available to him, and he could have drawn a bad conclusion. Watch this. The admiral showed the Indians some specimens of cinnamon and pepper he had brought from Castillo, and they knew it and said by signs that there was plenty in the vicinity. They already had that. So they're trying to find something to trade with them, but he's seen that they're weaponless. So he do what he gonna do. Then he says here, look, he also understood that far away that there were men in the eye on the dog's nose who were cannibals, and that when they captured an enemy, they beheaded him and drank his blood. You know, he talking about all of that. This is the journal of Christopher Columbus during his first voyage, and documents relating to the voyages of John Cabot and Gaspar Cortel Real, the Clements and Markham, etc. Go ahead, Sutek. I'll be right back.
Yeah, man. So hopefully you understood that these folks, if you read along, they said they painted themselves black. Also, they said they had hair like a horse's tail. You ain't gonna be able to show me no black people unless you're showing me some females nowadays with weaves and wigs and that type of shit. Our natural hair is not like a horse hair.
I'm with that. I never in my comment I never said that Columbus said he saw black people. I said the native people that he ran into said that they saw black people.
Yeah, so we never seen that. And dealing with this, and we've been dealing with this topic for years. We ain't never seen that. This is why we are asking you to show us. If you can't share your screen, just tell us where to find it at. We ain't trying to go on no wild goose chase. We ain't trying to Google and go through 4 or 5 pages to not find what we're looking for. And I guarantee you we're not going to find it. So we need you to drop that link. If you can drop the link. Matter of fact, you can find it and drop the link in a private chat. And we can go from there. Because we ain't ever heard this. If you need some time to find it, that's cool.
Hello? Hold on. So y'all saying that these Olmec statues were built by the Native Americans?
No. You trying to move too many places.
I'm not trying to move nothing.
We like to deal with one thing.
I'm not trying to move anything. Again.
But yeah, you are. You just said that hold on. They seen black people. Hold on. Can you show us that?
Hold on. He mentioned the gold wingtip thing. He said that he debunked it. That's what I was talking about. He said that it wasn't true. He said that they never saw black people.
So
one, he misquoted me and said that I said that Columbus said he saw black people. I never said that. I said that the native that Columbus ran into said that he saw black people. Sean P.
Where can we find that though?
Hold on,
fam? That's what we asking.
Hold on, Sean P. referenced the gold. He just talked about. He basically said he debunked it. He said I was talking about the gold tip. What he said, the gold tip. That's what I was talking about. He said that wasn't true. He said he debunked it an hour ago. He said that in the chat.
So, hey, let me help you out.
Now you want to move to the gold tip spears. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to. He said he debunked it. When I first said it, he said he debunked it an hour ago. He just mentioned it again.
Can you see my screen? You see my screen, bro? Let me know if you can see the screen.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So you want me to make this quick, or you want me to
make it quick? Because y'all saying I'm projecting something that I never said. But go ahead.
No. I'm not trying to project in. I'm trying to deal. You want to talk the gold spear tips, or do you want to talk Olmec?
You said you debunked it. You said you debunked it already. You said that the natives never saw black people.
They never saw black people, bro.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm not arguing that.
As far as the gold spit tips, here you go. Now, Van Sertima repeated this claim again when he testified in front of the House of Representatives. Now, I am not the first to suggest that there were Africans in America before Columbus. Columbus was the first to suggest it. That's what he says. His claim out of his mouth is that Columbus suggested it. Columbus actually said in the journal of his second voyage when he was in Haiti, then known as, and I'm going to get to the second one. I read you the first one. Now I'm going to get to his second voyage, and it's going to be lethal. Columbus actually said in his journal of his second voyage when he was in Haiti, then known as Hispaniola, Native Americans came to him and told him, listen to where this is coming from, bro. Van Sertima. This is your
right.
exact
That's what
quote.
I said. Your boy said he tried to act like I just was pulling this out the sky, but you reading something that's saying the same thing I said.
No. Listen to me.
I'm not saying it's true.
The natives never said this. He is saying that Columbus said that these people said that. And Columbus doesn't say that when we go to the second voyage. And I'm going to read it to you. He says, Native Americans came to him and told him that black people had come in with large boats from the south and southeast trading in gold-tipped metal spears. There go your gold-tipped metal spears.
Right.
Probably Columbus did not believe this, and the fact that in itself would not be enough because the so-called black people could be any people. It could be dark bronze people from South America. However, Columbus actually sent a back on a mail boat to Spain samples of the gold-tipped metal spears. When the metallurgists in Spain assayed these spears, they found that they were identical, not similar, but were identical in the ratio of gold, silver, copper alloys, and spears then being forged in Africa, Guinea. Now, I want to make a point of clarification here. Columbus never claimed that he saw black people in the Americas. This is what Columbus wrote. Their hair is short and coarse, almost like the hairs of a horsetail. I should not be reading this again, but there it is. The description that Columbus gives certainly is not a description of black people in the Caribbean.
Hold on, I got to cut you off. Nobody is making a claim that Columbus said he saw black people. If you go back, the claim is that the natives told Columbus that they saw black people.
No, your claim. That's your claim.
No,
fam.
it's not.
Hey, okay, well, show us who's claiming it.
You just
show us
read
that's all we asked.
Who made the claim about these gold tip people?
The
natives or Columbus?
No. I see what the problem is. The comprehension. So I'm gonna be clear.
Go back up.
I'm already up, bro. I'm already up. Listen specifically.
The Native Americans came to him and told him.
Shy, I need you to listen, bro. Listen to this closely. Van Sertima says that Columbus says. So who is making the claim?
I understand that, but this guy keeps saying
that. We gotta be clear here, bro.
Hold on, y'all scroll down and said that.
You understand? You're going in a different direction.
No, I'm not. Hear me out.
Okay,
I'm gonna let y'all talk because y'all keep cutting me off. Go ahead.
Because we gotta slow you down. Who is
cutting me off? I know what I'm saying. Hold on. Nobody. You go down. Nobody ever said that Columbus said he saw black people. Nobody said that. I never said that. The claim never said that. So now you going to show something Columbus never claimed that he saw black people. Nobody made that claim. Who made that claim?
All right, stop. This is why I said comprehension, because now I am not the first to suggest that there were Africans in America before Columbus. Columbus was the first to suggest it. What does that mean? Columbus actually said in the journal of his second voyage when he was in Haiti, then known as Hispaniola, Native Americans came to him and told him that black people had come in large boats from the south and southeast trading in gold-tipped metal spears. Stop. So Van Sertima says that Columbus claimed that these people came to him, yada, yada, yada. The claimant is Van Sertima. He's putting the blame on
Columbus. I got you.
Columbus, right. I'm not talking about you, bro. I'm taking you all the way out of the equation as far as what it said. Has nothing to do with you. We got to deal with the root of where the claim is coming from. So we have
blacks that are making this up, but you just read something that said what I said. Where am I making? I don't got no reason to lie. I'm not pulling this stuff out the sky.
No. You're regurgitating.
Right. I'm putting out there what's being said. Y'all debunking.
But we already know that. We know where it came from, but we're asking you, and you said that yada, yada, yada. So now I'm trying to make it I'm trying to make it clear for you to properly
You're saying
accept
that it
and
was a claim by Ivan Van Sertima. I'm with you.
Thank you. Now, back to my point. The description that Columbus gives certainly is not the description of Black people in the Caribbean. In fact, Columbus writes that there were not Black. Van Sertima claims to be referencing Columbus, but he is actually, listen, because this is going to go back to a point where I think you get the wrong people. He's actually referencing Bartholomew de las Casas' writings. De las Casas gave his description in his account of Columbus's voyage. Here is what De las Casas says. Wednesday, July 4, he ordered sail made from the inland, in which he says that since he arrived there, he never saw the sun or the stars, but that the heavens were covered for such a thick mist that it seemed they could cut it with a knife, and that the heat was so very intense that they were tormented. And he ordered the course laid to the way of the southwest, which is the route leading to the islands of the south. In the name, he says, the holy and indivisible Trinity, because then he would be a parallel with the land of the Sierra Leone and Cape of Sancta Ana in Guinea, which is below the equatorial line, where he says that below that line of the world are found more gold and things of value. And after, he would navigate the Lord pleasing to the west, and from there would go on to Hispaniola, in which route he would prove the theory of King John aforesaid, and that he sought to investigate the report of the Indians of this, be specific, Hispaniola, who said that there had come to Hispaniola from the south and southeast a Black people who have the tops of their spears made of metal, with they called Guinan. Now, let me stop right here. This is the word, ladies and gentlemen, that is under investigation. Now, I've already posted this on Facebook. I've already provided this information of everything else, but I'm going to show you what they are referring to. He says, the top of the spears made of metal, which they call Guinan, of which he had sent samples to the sovereigns to have them assayed. When it was found that of 32 parts, 18 were gold, 6 of silver, 8 of copper. Let me stop real quick. This don't even show up in West Africa at all. But let me read Dwayne, because he kills this. Neither Columbus nor De las Casas wrote anything about African spears. This is an inference that Van Sertima makes, but he presents his inference as a fact. Nowhere does De las Casas suggest that the spears he's referring to were identical or similar to the spears in West Africa. Moreover, how would he have known? Did the Spanish also assay the spears of West Africa to know what ratio of gold, silver, copper alloys were found in the African spears? Van Sertima does not say, but he jumps to the conclusion that the spears that were sent to Spain were African spears, providing a basis for why he believes so. Let me stop sharing this screen. Let me pull up something, and I need everybody, for the last time that we're going to do this, about this Guinan, to read what this shit is. All right, so I want to keep it. There's a PDF article. I don't feel like digging for it, but I'm gonna give us. I don't want to use no wiki, so give me a second. Let me share my whole entire screen so everybody can see what the hell I'm doing. I ain't trying to backdoor nothing. All right, so we read from one article about Guinea. We can go and translate this, but I don't want to use that. We can go here, Central Cultural Guinea, Social and Community Service. That's going to be a business. That ain't going to help us. All right, but look at these people. Hey, you see? You know. Now, there is an article. Man, I'm going to have to go on my other notes and go get it. If I don't find it right here in my search. But all right, I'm going to go to Wiki, then I'll come up off of Wiki and go where I need to. All right, so here is the problem. Guinan or Guianan is an alloy of copper, gold, and silver, similar to the red gold, used in where? Pre-colonial Central America. The source for that, here you go. I thought the PDF would come up in the drop. But here go the PDF. Make sure you still can see my screen and that everybody is on board. Yeah, all right, so y'all can see my screen. Now, metallurgic encounters in Cuba, the technology exchange and meaning of metals before and after Columbus. It says what before and after Columbus, all right? So if you look at this, you're going to see something unique. Cuba comes up a whole lot, this whole entire article. Metals had an important symbolic and political values in the indigenous community of the Caribbean islands. However, metal objects are not an abundant in indigenous archaeological sites, and their study has hitherto been very limited. I'm gonna stop right here, and I'm gonna do something because you need to know this. This paper presents the results of the first analytical program focused of metal artifacts recovered in the range of Taino sites in Cuba, chronologically covering the periods before and after Europeans. So let me show you on the map what this dude is talking about. Here you go. You should be able to see these sites. When you see a circle with a straight line across, those are the sites for the Ghanaians. So you have it over here, and then you'll have it over here in the south. It ain't everywhere. It's in 2 sites. Cuba. They're coming from the south. So it's Vega de la Benino. Them people are bringing this. I'm telling y'all, this is already there. Now, let me get back to Dwayne. Now, you should still be able to see my page. Neither Columbus nor De La Casse wrote anything about African spears. Y'all heard me read that part. Now, here goes the second problem with the manner in which Van Sertima uses the piece of information is the assumption that Black people whom De La Casse refers to were African. Columbus was quoted before as noting that the natives sometimes painted themselves Black. So for all we know, the Black people being referred to were people who were painted Black, as opposed to Black-skinned people. Even Van Sertima himself admits that the people who were trading the spears could be dark bronze people from South America as opposed to African. Van Sertima's scholarship was flawed in many respects, but he made an attempt to challenge the racist scholarship of his time that echoes the same sentiment that we already remembered. Now, the problem is it gets muddy when you start talking about this bastard. Unfortunately, the scholarship that he has inspired has tended to be a worse quality than Van Sertima was. For example, whereas Van Sertima argued the Africans influenced the civilizations of Americas, Clyde Ahmad Winters goes further by suggesting that the Africans founded the Olmec and all other major civilizations, which is the claim that Van Sertima never made. The whole Olmec head, the whole Olmec thing ain't even Van Sertima's claim, bro. But Clyde Winters is arguing it hiding behind Van Sertima. So that's a whole nother problem. Because now, yeah, Quinnen, and I'm looking in the chat, this right here, right, is found in 2 places. You can read this entire article if you would like, but we went through this on other channels, and we also dealt with Clyde Winters' mess on Kofi Paisai. But this actually here is enough evidence. I'm going to drop this. Now we can go back to the wiki article, right? Because it tells you that this is used in pre-Columbian Central America. The name Guyanan is taken from the language of the Taino people. So if you go and look, you'll get into the Taino people, who prize for its reddish color, brilliant shine, and unique smell, and associated it with both worldly and supernatural power. It was also known as the Taguagu, whatever the hell, in South America, as the Tumbanga. There you go. The Spanish referred to it as low gold, distinguishing it from its items made with a higher purity of gold. Samples of the guanine have been found all over Central America. Look at that. Indicating a great deal of trade and interaction between the many cultures that lived in the area. Guanine was used to create and decorate a variety of objects, including both humanoid and animal figurines using lost wax casting. Guess what though? I think the claims show up in here. Here you go, right here, blue. Look, here you go. The journal of Bartholomew Las Casas made during the third voyage of Christopher Columbus in 1498 relates to Columbus had heard reports from locals, peoples that there had come to Hispaniola from the south and southeast of black people who have the tops of their spears made of metal, which they call ganin. A royal bill of 1501 made the sale of ganin illegal in Hispaniola during the 1520s, and it was some alternate currency when the coins were scarce. It was used to purchase indigenous slaves in Northern South America during this period. So if we want to go deal with it, here's the map. This map is the same one, pretty much the same one I just showed you out of the source that they actually use. And they show you this ain't from West Africa at all. This claim, right? This claim of those spear tips ain't African in origin at all, because this is what it's made out of, and this can be found all over Central America. And that's why I got now anybody listen, all of y'all can go wiki this up, pull the article up, deal with the actual source. It's a PDF. You can get through it. It's not difficult. But it's an indicator of how sloppy research can lead you down the wrong path. The other thing that I have up, well, I still have up the first day, so I need to go to I need to go to Columbus second or third voyage. Let me see, pull it up. It's gonna be the same one with both of them on there. Yeah, I don't want that. I want the second and third. Well, no, I want the third, but this got it. Now this one right here is a difficult read, the way it's written, but it's a lot of information in here about Christopher Columbus. Section Admiral, Section 4, Native, the first voyage. Okay, narrative of the first voyage. Blah, 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 blah. $14.92. Give us. It's the only thing, man. This mug ain't specific. I can just click on it and go right to it. Oh, what we looking for? Second voyage. Section 2, one of the first comings, Admiral, the first voyage, second voyage, section 6. All right. Now, we can wreck our mind, our brains, or we can go through this second voyage. But here go the second voyage, and then we can go through the third voyage. This was in the other source that I showed earlier, the first part. But he's still gonna tell us that he's seen black people. Anybody that don't believe me? Anybody don't believe me? Y'all still on the panel? Dude, dip.
Oh, yeah. I wondering why he was in the chat.
But he is absolutely incorrect about these statues, bro. They were erecting shit before Columbus, man. I don't know why he's saying that he had so many different arguments. He wasn't understanding how he was fucking up.
Why I try to keep him on one place? He kind of all over the place. But yeah, they built a whole bunch of shit, but I don't know what he talking about.
Yeah, he act like humans can't do shit, bro. So what happened when these people are encountering that they're building shit on top of mounds? That they're painting and they got all of this shit in these tombs or whatever the hell they want to call them.
Mummifying shit. They got figurines. They got fucking mounds. Bro, you crazy. Oh, make
How many people
heads.
think How many people think that he gonna say some black people that he saw black people? We can go to 3. We can go to section 3 and see if he say that. This is how you know that people ain't reading like everything regarding this stuff, because I've had this up before as well. Remember they talked about the cannibals? Here they go, the Caribs. The admiral sent 2 boats on shore to endeavor to procure some persons who might be able to give some account of the country, and to inform in which him and the Hispaniola lay. Each of the boats brought off the youth, who agreed in saying that they were not of the island, but of another which they called Boriquin, now Saint John, and that the inhabitants of Guadalupe were the Caribs or cannibals, and had taken them prisoner from their own island. Soon afterwards, the boats returned to the shore and bring off some Christians who had been left, and found 6 women who had fled with them from the Caribs. They came off willingly to the ships to allure the Indians. The admiral would not keep them, but set them on shore against their wills, giving them some glass beads and bells. This was not done unadvisedly. As soon as they had landed, the Caribs, even in the sight of the Christians, took away all the trinkets which had been given to them. Therefore, either through hatred or fear of the Caribs, when the boats returned some time afterwards to the woods and water, the women got into them and requested to be carried back to the ships, and gave the seamen to understand by signs that those people eat men and make slaves of the women, and therefore they would not remain with them, yielding to their entreaties. So this whole thing about like this person, that person, yada, 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 these ain't Africans, these ain't black people. We heard Christopher Columbus say in his own words that he wrote they were neither black nor white. He said that. He didn't say it once, he said it twice. And whoever he is describing coming from the South, he is describing a people that are near the equator. And based on the skin map, we all know how they roll. We know exactly how they roll. But who think that he really said all of this? And this is the dangers of Van Sertima's work, because while he made different renditions to his books, he never cross-referenced any source. He allowed Leo Wiener to lead him in the direction in which felt good. And that era cost. Because look, it's 2023 and we ain't updated shit he done did. Indians had some knowledge of Christians because the Jesuits are there. They're all over the place. We can go to 3. This mug here is long. It's every day he writing. It's every day writing. Let me see if I can find out the spears. Let's see if we can find this. Really brandishing their spears. Kill, kill, kill. When they brandish their spears, they ready to kill you. I'm looking for some, y'all. Just hold on. Nope. Look what he say. Indians were coming towards them soon after they saw many canoes with Indians coming down the creek. The dude saying, and he's saying it the whole entire time. He is talking. He think these people are Indians. He don't think these people black. He don't think these people are whoever the hell they are, Paleo Indians. He don't know none of that. The whole time, Christopher Columbus think he is in India and he is seeing Indians. He is neither in India and he damn sure ain't seeing no Indians. He falsely placed his name on them people. Who next? Look at this.
You got another pseudo in the chat.
Who was that? Tarka.
JJ.
Wow. Nah, well, he been beat up, so ain't no sense in talking to him. He ain't want no real smoke, bro. None. Zero. Zilch. And you see how he come into the chat. He come into the chat expressing his ignorance because he damn sure don't know how to review evidence. And he already been beat up before. All right, so this is your belief, brother. You don't have no evidence. So let's go deal with the Mayan civilization. Look at this. Before we get to anything, share your entire screen.
He said the Olmec hands don't look like Olmecs.
Yeah, you ain't beat shit. You're delusional. Look at this. 250 to 1697. That's well before Columbus, right? You're telling me that these people wasn't erecting shit? Look, bro, they're erecting shit. So let's find out what it is that they erected, and then let's go see if we can date it so we can end all the speculation. Mayan pyramids of the classic Maya AD 250 to 900, case closed. It's over.
No Columbus is back then.
It's over. The Mayan calendar and culture. When was that? Where did the Maya live? The Maya civilization was one of the most dominant indigenous societies in Mesoamerica. Unlike other scattered indigenous populations in Mesoamerica, the Maya was centered in the geographical block covering the Yucatan Peninsula in modern-day Guatemala, Belize, parts of the Mexican states of Tabasco and Chiapas. Pyramids, bro. Excavation of Maya sites have unearthed plazas, palaces, temples, and pyramids, as well as courts for playing the famous Maya ball game Uluma, all ritually and politically significant to Maya culture. This is in 250 AD to 900 AD, bro.
Yeah, Cud wasn't even born yet.
Right. Ain't no people over here, bro. Shit. You gotta give it up, bro. Say no to pseudo. Say no to pseudo. Watch this real quick. Oh,
Ain't no sound.
oh, yeah, because I gotta stop and share screen with sound. My bad.
This magnificent pyramid is named after one of the Maya's supreme gods, Kukulkan, which is depicted as a feathered serpent bird. Each of its 4 sides has 91 steps that rise nearly 80 feet. Adding the platform at the top as a final step, there are 365 steps in all, one for every day of the year. It is an architectural wonder for all kinds of reasons. Its huge size, its orientation to the sun, the odd shadows the sun casts on its stepped faces. But there's something else. Every year, thousands of people flock to this amazing pyramid to hear it sing. Watch. In a second, I'm going to face that staircase and clap my hands. And when I do, you're going to hear an echo, but not just of my clapping hands. Listen. Cool, huh? For years, acoustical engineers and archaeologists have argued over whether the eerie echo is there by design or is just an architectural accident. One of those acoustical engineers is David Loveman. He started coming to the Temple of Kukulkan back in 1998, doing his best to record and analyze the strange-sounding echo.
My own feeling as an avocational archaeologist is that it was noticed, it was used, and that in all likelihood it was intentional. When the Mesoamericans were first experimenting with building outdoor temples of every shape and size, the only one that seemed to reward them with the approval of the gods were the temples with the long outdoor staircase, because with those temples, a hand clap would be rewarded with the sound that they would recognize of the messenger of the gods, the Quetzal.
The Quetzal was the living and breathing representation of the Maya's most sacred god, Quetzalcoatl, also known as Kukulkan, or the feathered snake. Killing a Quetzal was a crime punishable by death. If he's right that this sound effect is deliberate, then how exactly is it accomplished?
Basically, if you imagine each of the 91 stairs on the staircase and consider the vertex where the riser of the stair connects with the tread, and consider the line as a reflecting line, now you have an array of sound scatterers, and your hand clap scatters from each of those 91 points, but at different times. The closest steps have the shortest time between reflections. But then when we get reflections from the upper steps, it sounds to us as if the tone is declining in frequency. Ew. And so that's how a staircase can sound like a downward chirp.
If these sophisticated sound effects are deliberate, the Maya almost certainly learned them by accident, through trial and error over hundreds of years.
Yeah, man. So you said they wasn't building nothing, bro? They were doing more than that, but they ain't the only one that were building shit. The Inca were building shit too. So it shouldn't be a thing, bro, to say what these people were not building. They were building, bro. And this stuff old. And to be real with you, I'm gonna speak more specifically for the Inca. It wasn't until the Jesuits encountered the Inca that they figure out that the Inca was using quinine to stop shivers, which would later be used as a malaria treatment and allow them Europeans to start surviving a lot of that stuff that they encountered. So we know, man, that these people had all kind of stuff before these Europeans came, all the way up until the arrival of the Spanish and so on and so forth. But to say they didn't have none of that until them people came is being very disingenuous to the early peoples. They evolved with time, man. They knew what they were doing. Look at that. The Mayan also made significant advances in math and astronomy, bro. 365 calendar. You just heard them mention the steps. They did all of that. So to dismiss them is a little weird on your part. As far as Jeremiah, I would never allow you to waste our time. You'll never get that privilege again, bro. You're just a bum. I don't even know why you're here. You couldn't even teach your kids, bro. What you mean you taught me anything? Boom. What is it? What did Shay say? The Air Corps League was to stop. Let me get rid of this idiot. The Air Corps League was to stop wars amongst them. What they got to do with them building stuff?
Have you ever checked out Mesa Verde? That's over in Colorado, I believe. They built small cities in town. They built like a little a rock city where all of their shelter was built out of stones and rocks. Yeah, they built shit, bro. It might not have been as monumental as the shit in Mesoamerica, but you had to take in consideration what they had going on. A lot of these groups that's able to build shit is because they have the time and the resources. Some other groups don't have the time and the resources. Some of them groups got to spend their time on worry about food, where they finna get their next meal, how they gonna keep their shelters or get shelters or keep themselves warm throughout the winter. You got to factor all that shit in, fam.
Teddy, that dude ain't here to learn nothing, bro. You told that dude to stay and learn something. He ain't here to learn nothing. At least Shay, he's sitting however you say his name, he's sitting here just arguing from ignorance. That bro he ain't here for nothing. Anybody else got?
Oh, you clicked yourself off. Matter of fact.
Anybody else got nothing fire? What are Pueblos?
Exactly.
You said I'm just trying to make sense of their existence here in the Americas. Well, yeah. If you're trying to make sense of their existence, what was your existence? Do you see what I'm saying? They're human, bro. They're hominids. They're Homo sapiens sapiens, bro. They ain't slow. They're not retarded. They may have they may have two unique genes that differ, that's different from other people, but they possess them. So, but they also possess the ability to build rafts, canoes, and architecture.
Look at them folks. They don't look like the people in these Olmec statues. When y'all say that these statues have African features, I feel like that's some racist ass shit. Because you saying black people only have one set of features. Niggas we gotta have fat lips. We gotta have wide noses. Like, yeah, that's racism, bro. That's racism, white supremacy telling you that. These folks look just like that. Stop it. Have you ever tried to see if these folks look like that? Or is you just regurgitating what you heard of these statues having African features? Have you ever seen Africans with aquiline noses, thinner lips? Because I have. I see motherfuckers all the time.
You keep saying that they came here just like everybody else. I don't think you understand the complexity of what you're saying. They migrated here before everyone else. They were here before everybody else arrived. And
Are white folks indigenous to Europe?
No.
How did they get there? Did they just pop up there? Did they just start growing there?
They migrated, bro. They migrated. So you can't just shit on those people. And I think that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to, yeah, I ain't saying what you said because you said a whole bunch of stuff. What I am saying to you is this, is that you can't shit on their culture because it was unique. And it was things that they did in their culture that the rest of the world did not possess or have. However, we can immediately dismiss any African bullshit.
You know what you're doing? You're doing the same thing white folks did to us with the Hermetic hypothesis. These niggas couldn't have built this shit. You doing the same shit, bro.
I'm not doing that. I'm not definitely not doing that. I'm not taking nothing away from them.
So why couldn't these folks couldn't have built this shit for themselves?
Because here in America where we at, it ain't too many statues here. Everybody, pyramids are common. To me, they're just buildings.
That's a different group, though. You don't see. Okay, you see pyramids in Northeast Africa. Do you see big ass pyramids and huge stone temples and shit like that? That's over there in Egypt and Nubia. Do you see that in West Africa?
West Africa has definitely has pyramids.
I said to that level. Did you see that?
I mean, I don't look at like the size and stuff like that as like a difference. That's like down south. You don't got
okay. So if you don't look at the size of a different, we have. What I'm saying is they have Native American structures in North America. They just showed you some in the chat. I just showed you some.
All right.
So what's the difference? Those you talking about two completely different groups of people. Just because they're both labeled as native, quote unquote, Native Americans, don't mean that they the same folks.
I didn't say that. I didn't even suggest that.
I know. I'm saying that.
All I'm saying is, like, my overall point is, like, when we talking about who native here, are we asking this? Are we talking about this in the sense of who has ownership to the land? Like, what's the end goal of that?
When we say native, we're talking about who's indigenous to the land.
Indigenous meaning like they from here, or they came, or they like the earliest.
They were the earliest inhabitants.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't personally think it matters who was first, because I look at it like the way we view government and stuff like that. It's like whoever creates a government kind of like runs the place, right? I don't think natives were dealing with that type of government. It just was free land. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
colonization.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like the natives were just here. I don't think there was like one set of, you know,
So
group of
you
people.
don't think they had their own? Like, what are you saying? You think they don't
What
have?
I'm
They had
saying
their own
is the way
government?
how we live today. We got a president that's like over the whole country. There was nothing. I don't think they were living like that. Like other people were there. You was in one state. Our groups
So
were in another
what does
state.
that? How is that relevant to the topic
It's
though?
relevant because with these conversations about this Pan-Africanism, who were the natives? Did we come from
Oh, no,
Africa?
no, no, no. Hold on. Slow down.
Why y'all keep cutting me off?
Because we ain't talking about no damn Pan-Africanism
I
and
didn't say
shit.
y'all was. I said these conversations, all these conversations are tying into each other. I didn't say y'all was. It's other people on YouTube talking about this. And all I'm saying is when we pointing out who was first, who came later, who came. I get all that. But my point is, what are we really trying to get to when we trying to figure out who was first, when these people came? What because my thing is, what does it really matter? Because
That's
there
not
was
what
We're
we're
no.
trying
correct.
to get to. You
Hold
have a
on, let me
group.
finish. Let me finish my point. There was no specific ownership. Like nobody had no clear ownership over the land. When you start talking about that, then you're dealing with a type of modern day idea of ownership. Like you get what I'm saying? Like
When you're talking about ownership of a land, you're talking about ideas that they didn't have anyway.
right, I agree. So that's what I'm
They didn't.
saying.
They didn't have no ideas of owning land. That's
Right.
European concept.
Right, I agree. I agree. So that's what I'm saying. When we having these conversations, what are we trying to get to or get at as Black people? What are we trying to get to when we have these conversations? Are we trying
We're
to? Is
correcting
are,
misinformation
hold
and
on? Are we trying to
correcting
establish who we are?
identity
Are we
crisis that we have. We have Black people in the community that think they are indigenous to America, or that think they were first here, which would mean indigenous, and that's just not correct. So this is what we're doing. We're using our time to fight against misinformation, so our kids and their kids will know coming up who they are and won't be confused by all this misinformation that's being spread throughout the community.
got you? Well, I'm not. Again, I'm not one of those. I'm not one of me personally. I'm not one of those. Um, we all been here and we all came from Africa. I think both is possible. You know what I'm saying? Y'all had put the information up saying that there were no Black people here. But I think is because I don't, me personally, I don't believe that people just started coming here or traveling when Columbus decided to come here. I think multiple groups came here. You know what I'm saying? They may have not left evidence or anything like that. Like they say the Vikings left. You know what I'm saying? You think they just left? You don't think they met people here when they traveled here? You don't think they might, made it with nobody? So that's what I mean by like anybody could have came here. You know what I'm saying? Just because there's no records of it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. So I think
So
both
what
narratives is
evidence
true.
do we have? Because we can go off of what we think, or we can go off what we know. So what evidence
Because
do
you have
we
a lot
have
of you
to
also
support
have
that?
because you got a lot of now, and I'm not making an argument for the people that say we been here.
Yeah, you
Um,
are.
I'm not making an argument for them. I'm being fair to all information.
No. There's no fairness here.
It,
There's evidence, and then there's a lack of evidence.
I'm about to tell. Let me finish talking. You have a lot of people that's claiming that they native, saying that their grandparents, et cetera, never told them they was
Because
African.
that's
Hold on, let me
hearsay,
finish
bro.
talking. Let me finish
Evidence.
talking. Hold on, let me finish talking. You got a lot of people saying their grandparents never said they was Africans, right? And I'm not one to tell somebody they lying. If that's what you feel like your grandparents said I just had a whole conversation with a person about the Gullah Geechee. The Gullah Geechee claim West African. They telling me, oh, they lying. I'm asking them, where did they get that idea from that they have West African lineage? Oh, my grandparents is Gullah. They never said we came from Africa. So I'm not sitting up here being so against what somebody's saying. You get what I'm saying? I'm being fair to everybody. If that's what you
No,
feel,
ain't no fairness. Ain't no fairness, bro, because you're dumbing down a whole generation of people and you're confusing the fuck out of them by lying. There is no, and I repeat, there is no being genuine here. The genuineness left in 2017, bro. They've been riding this wave since then. Why in the hell we being nice to some people who lying? They're lying to make money. That's why you have Aboriginal YouTube channels and they over there just stealing people money because the shit sound good.
They have, hold on, they got like this, and I ask the apples all the time, like it sounds more like they more concerned about this. They have like it seemed like a more hate towards Africans rather than just trying to find out if they are African or not. That's the conversation I'm trying to have. Let's figure it out before we just deny it. You get what I'm saying? I don't got nothing against. If I'm African, hold on. If I'm African, I'm African. If I'm Native American Indian, I'm Native American Indian. I feel like they're pushing out this.
Are you aware of tribal sovereignty?
As it pertains to what?
No. Are you aware of tribal sovereignty? This is something that natives have. Are you aware of that?
No.
Tribal sovereignty allows them to govern themselves. Tribal sovereignty allows them to continue living life as they always have. Tribal sovereignty allows them land in places where they have reservations.
Reservations, right.
Where they have jurisdiction over themselves, and the state does not have jurisdiction over them. Only the federal government can intervene, and that is rare. That's tribal sovereignty. When you go to, have you been to jail?
No, I've never been to jail.
You know anybody that been to jail?
A bunch of people.
Ask them motherfuckers that they ever seen a Native American locked up.
But look. I said that again. I said, hold on. I already said this on the first time I was on. And in the chat, I asked black people that say that they Native American Indian, what do they do that's Indian? Because to me, black people don't do anything Indian.
No, they don't. No, it's
you know what I'm saying? Again, and I'm not saying that to tell them
they're lying. It's like talking to JJ in the chat. He's a
liar. I'm not telling them this. I'm not saying this to deny it. Because again, I know, I have two aunts whose father was, a Native American man. They black mother mixed with a Native American Indian man. So I'm not saying that some black people don't have them, aren't mixed with them. I'm just talking about the original people. I don't see us. We don't do nothing black. Everything black people, like we don't paint ourselves. The thing you just read when you were saying like they colored themselves red, black. I ask black people all the time, do y'all do any of that to be claiming Indian? Because I don't see it.
No, they claim Indian when they can get a Cash App or a YouTube donation. That's the thing. That's why we ain't got time to be nice. That's why that's why I'm dealing with it from science. I'm not dealing with it with mama said, grandmama said. So when people come to me with that, that's not evidence. That's speculative. That's not a lack of ignorance. That is ignorance in itself. They're not doing anything that substantiates proof by saying that I'm a member of this tribe. The federal government doesn't recognize my tribe. Bull crap, because they know you making up stuff. What about your blood oath? What about your blood test that you got to get recognized by these tribes? Have you done that? Oh, I'm Cherokee. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. No, y'all was enslaved by these people. Could have been some admixture. Absolutely. These people that's telling us that they're natives and that they're indigenous don't even live in the states where these people are. They be right there in the same hood that you in, bro. How is you native? How is you indigenous? And you still live around the corner on the block? You outside the block right now. Your pants sag, bro.
No, look. Even with that, I'm gonna give you more evidence. That's why I said in the chat, in New Jersey, there were like Native American Indian tribes here too fighting for land. You know what I'm saying? So,
and none of them were there.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like I was on the Aboriginal channel the other day. A guy said that one person said black people never migrated from the South.
Well, it just shows you their ignorance.
Yeah, I say that to say like that, and I'm not. Again, I'm just asking these questions. A lot of stuff like don't be making sense to me. Like when you make a claim or you say it got to add up to me. And I'm not saying that Black people can't be Native American Indian, because again, I had that in my family, and I'm not even claiming it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even claiming it. Like I'm just saying, like when we say like, you know, what's what, and you look at the landscape of America, you got to start looking at where people are, where people were, you know, foods that they eat. Food tell the truth about a culture. Food tell who somebody is. Black people don't, I don't even know what Native American Indians eat. I know that Black people across America eat the same things though.
All
All of
right.
our dishes are the same. You know what I'm saying? I don't
Yeah.
even know what a Native American Indian eats. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
The point is this: is that we have a large movement, not large, but we have a conglomerate of people that are not even culture appropriation, but they're actually trying to assimilate into someone else's culture through talking points only because of mama said, grandmama said, but they lack the genetic evidence, and they lack the, even when they go to genealogy, their genealogy stops them at one point. It becomes, they hit a brick wall. It's always around the 1800s. So you have people that are claiming around that time that they're Indian running away from slavery. And it goes all the way up into the earlier 1900s. That was an scapegoat that Black people used to get away from that. They're going back to that. Prior to the 1800s, they can't give you nothing because everything, the whole lot stops for them. When they say they did their genealogy and this what came of it. Or some of them did their genealogy and what actually comes of it is a goddamn lie. They end up being enslaved by some white man who happens to be the head of the last name. So these are the things that actually happen. So we need to be careful with dealing with folk in a particular way. And that's why we can't deal with all of this other stuff. Like it's bananas. And we wasting our time. We wasting our time going in circles with folks who don't read, who don't comprehend, and who make freaking assumptions day in and day out. And it happens all the time. We gotta stop dealing with that stuff, man. Like for real. It must be a little mate. Call your mama. Call your mama. Cause your mama just called me, Fat Daddy. Call her. But we wasting time, man. For real. A lot of time. And we wasting it on fringe information. But yeah, to Shad, you might want to go to the beginning, bro. Go to the first show and watch that. If you don't have evidence, you're just making up shit. Facts. He said, I blame the public school system. Facts. JJ, I don't care what you're talking about. You'll never be on the same panel with me, bro. You trash. You dishonest. And you beat on women, bro. No way I'm finna entertain you. It's Women's Month. You think I'm finna associate myself with you? Knowing what you done did? Deal with that, chump. Ain't nobody else got none, huh? Look like we done. Well, man, I hope y'all enjoy this bill. I hope y'all go back and watch this bill. make sure that you grab the sources in the description of this video. The sources in the last one, and then handle your business. Say what? You call your mama? Why you came down here to tell me that? Why you texting your mom? I said call your mama. You trying to text and you don't even know how to text. But yeah, man, that's it. That's all I got. So take you got something?
Nah, man. Pick up volume 5. Drop the link in the chat right now. Spears of Victory. Make sure you add that to your collection. Appreciate it, man.
All right, man. That's it on that, man. Go cop that volume 5. Get that volume 5 ASAP. Yeah. Oh, now he yes, ma'am. Now he yes, ma'am. That's crazy.
I don't listen to people that I can't learn from. So I don't listen to interviews of artists that don't have no value in what they say. I don't listen to music from people that I can't get no game from. Or
are you the smartest one in your team?
Definitely not. I might be the dumbest one.
So we have a lot to do. We must do our business, what we have to do the job. And we are not against anybody. It's not to be against. It's to know more about yourself and more about humanity and try to bring contribution to the world. It's like that. So this complex of inferiority is over. Like to say, I'm doing well, I'm okay, healing me. Heal what? You are not sick. Well, heal for what? You have to do the job. You must do the job. We do well in some in art, in music, in athleticism. We do well. We must do the same in business. We do well. We must in politics. We do well. So we must do well in a pure intellect business. We must do well too. Why not? We must learn Medu nature. We must know African language, African philosophy, African spirituality, African culture, African values. Know that very well. Bring that on table. Be proud of that. Because if it's lost, humanity will lose something. So it's good for us to bring this kind of. If they don't study Buddhism, we lose Buddhism. They must study Buddhism. If they don't study Christianity, the Bible, we lose that too. So it's good to study. Everything is a part of humanity, is a legacy. So we study because it's part of humanity. It's not to say we are proud, we did, came it, they did. Now we have to build a new pyramid. That's all. New schools, new homes, new families, new community, not people in jail, nothing like that. Be there and do well and be positive. This is what we have to do now.
I offended anybody. Please forgive me, I'm so not sorry. You won't smoke, just keep it between me and you to get that pronto. They said smoke in the album, now they carry her.